I've been playing games for over 20 years, and I can say we're swimming in content like I have never seen before. From console and PC to indie and AAA, even quadruple A if you're Ubisoft, we've got games big and small coming out every single day. In fact, games are coming out at a pace so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up. Typically, I lean on Game Informer's list of upcoming games to keep track of new releases, and based on their latest updates, we've got 93 games so far this year, and that's just the content that people really have their eyes on. Taking a look back at 2023, PC players saw 14,532 new games land on Steam. That's an average of nearly 55 games per day. Now obviously not all of those are going to be winners, but while players are getting hundreds or even thousands of new games per month, people tend to stick with the games they know and love, and leave so many good games on the table in the process. Boomer shooters like Turbo Overkill, a spiritual successor to a cult classic like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, a charming little 6-hour indie like Jasant. All of these are fantastic games that deserved more time in the spotlight. But online culture has changed the conversation, with people mostly always focusing on the biggest games of the year, and unfortunately that typically means the smaller projects are left out to dry. So many games just won't get exposure no matter how much passion the devs are packing or how much love they deserve. On the other hand, this massive number of new releases constantly trickling into our backlogs has conditioned people to always be looking forward to the next big thing. The last half of 2023 had players shifting their focus from Baldur's Gate 3 to Starfield to Spider-Man 2 to Alan Wake 2 to Modern Warfare 3, with plenty of other titles scattered in between depending on what you're into. We'll spend years waiting for a game, finally get our hands on it, and then turn our attention to whatever the next hot game is within days. So far this year we've gone from Prince of Persia and Pal World to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered and Suicide Squad, and now all eyes are on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Helldivers 2. But it's just a matter of time before the next big thing comes along to grab our attention, like that dog from Up seeing a squirrel in the middle of a conversation. Squirrel! But live service games throw a wrench into this whole conversation. These are the games that come packing weekly challenges, monthly updates, seasonal battle passes, and more content designed to keep players coming back. And these games depend on those players coming back. I've made a handful of videos talking about the nature of live service games and the decline that could be coming, but right now there are teams of dozens, sometimes hundreds, of dedicated developers that are creating a constant flow of content for games that, for one reason or another, might just not be keeping people playing. And these are not bad games. Splitgate is one that comes to mind, a game that's basically a Halo-style arena shooter mixed with Portal. While people waited on Halo Infinite, this game definitely had its time in the sun with over 100,000 players in August 2021. Now in March 2024, the game has 314 players on Steam on a Saturday night. 1047 Games is adding new content and monthly playlist updates, but the game's time in the spotlight has mostly come and gone. It's old news, even if it's one of the best competitive shooters I've played in the last 5 years. Lately I've been playing The Finals, a game that took the world by storm when it shadow dropped during the Game Awards. Right out of the gate, people loved the fresh take on a first-person shooter that brought some 3v3v3 combat and wasn't relying on dishing out the same type of gameplay with a slightly different flavor. Fast forward to 3 months after launch, and Season 2 just dropped with a new map and a new mode with new weapons and gadgets. The core community is definitely enjoying it, and the new season is bringing a big bump to the active player count. Even so, the final Season 2 has barely been a blip on the radar on social feeds. I see nobody really talking about this game in the way that it deserves, and that's a shame, because it's fantastic. I didn't fall in love with the finals at launch, but after coming back to see what's new in Season 2 and spending about an hour with the game to really learn its mechanics and test out different weapons and classes, it's easily making its way into my weekly roster if I'm in the mood for a competitive shooter. All of this is to say that we shouldn't let the trending gaming conversation dominate the type of games that we play, and I'm speaking to myself. Shifting our focus from one game to the next can cause a lot of damage to the wallet and ultimately leave you with a constantly growing backlog of games that are just begging to be played. Obviously everyone's taste, budgets, and schedules are different, so if you've got the bandwidth to max out your level in Helldivers 2, finish every quest in Rebirth, and roll credits on every big game that's landed this year, that's all you. But if you find yourself in a lull where the latest games aren't really grabbing your interest, but you're still trying to scratch that itch for something new to play, grab a game you think looks interesting and go for it. Game Pass is a great discovery tool for finding a new game, from big AAA games like Dead Island 2 to indie games like Jasant that I mentioned earlier. Or take a look back at some of those flash-in-the-pan games that seem to come and go in the blink of an eye, like The Finals. If you're like me, you might be surprised that not only does the game have a passionate core community loving it and playing it every day, it's also bringing some fun gameplay that could go toe-to-toe with some of the biggest games in the business. There are plenty of games out there that are sleeper hits just waiting for you to find them. But you know what else is a sleeper hit? This channel, or at least I think so. If you're new here and you enjoy the conversation, you like what you see and what you hear, hit that subscribe button to get videos like this every week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.